What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central. I'm your host, Haize, and we have our final episode before the season starts. The season preview, the season, whatever you want to call it. It's an exciting time to be a Bulls fans, but what I want to talk to you guys about tonight is a couple of things to look out for as the Bulls head into the regular season. And the first thing that I want to bring up is, of course, something that reared its ugly head a little bit, and that is the defensive woes. Now, I know as Bulls fans, we've been fighting this argument about the Bulls defense all offseason and if they're going to have enough defense to win. I don't think that's going to be the issue. The thing that I do kind of want that does concern me sometimes is, the over gambling in the passing lanes has worked out for the Bulls more times than not, but we've seen it go the other way. And also, like, as the season progresses, what are the Bulls going to do about interior defense, specifically when they face really good post big men? And so, that's something we had issue with last year. That's something that's probably going to be even bigger issue this year. But that doesn't mean that the rest of the way that the defense plays, especially the perimeter players, isn't going to be enough to overcome some of those interior defensive woes. We'll see that. And, one of the key things in this is that we didn't get to see a lot of Tony Bradley or Patrick Williams at all in the preseason. And, considering that Patrick Williams is going to be our starting four, Tony Bradley is going to be our backup center, is that, how does having them now in the rotation consistently affect those defensive potential problems there? And so, Tony Bradley, he didn't even play a lot of minutes in the preseason game that we saw him in. To see what he's able to do shot blocking wise, rebounding wise is going to be important to how, I'm not saying that it's a major key or the thing that's going to turn, that's going to dictate how many, a few more wins the Bulls get or whatever else. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that it is going to make the rest of the game harder sometimes. And it's going to make some of those wins harder to get if, those players don't show up. And then if they do, if Tony Bradley ends up not being what we need on the interior defensively, how do the Bulls fix that over the course of the season? I know a lot of people are calling for Kobe White to be traded. Me, I'm saying watch the buyout market towards more of the midseason and see what we can get there. But, overall, that's just something that, I'm going to have my eyes on in the first few games just to see how the Bulls respond to that. But, someone that I just talked about also, Patrick Williams. We know that Patrick Williams did not get to play in any but one, and that's the last preseason game where I think he played about 22 minutes. And we know he was the workhorse for the Bulls last year as far as playing in as many games as he did. He's probably going to be looked at to play some major minutes, to see how his body responds to being back in the rotation and back in the regular season. Patrick Williams is going to be important for us this season, not scoring wise, like I said, not even numbers wise, but what he's able to do defensively, on ball, off the ball, some of the smaller things, how he progresses this season, all going to be things that I'm looking out for as well. And then the continued chemistry of this team. A lot of the people who worried about fit and a lot of the analysts who had those concerns, they were shown to at least not be as serious as, or as big of a concern as people like to point out. And that was something that DeMar and Zach preached very much basically since DeMar got here, is that it's not about the fit. The fit isn't going to be the issue because they're playing for each other. They're sacrificing for each other. And we've seen that as well. And then, another thing to look out for, just how much having Alex Caruso coming off this bench does for the players around it. In the last offseason game, apparently Donovan wanted to take Alex Caruso out, and Alex Caruso wanted to play with the younger guys to help them win win that game. And, having him as a veteran on that bench is really going to help because, looking at our bench, it's a younger bench in many ways. We do have some veterans out there, some people who've been in the league for a few seasons, but they haven't all won, right? So having a NBA champion to kind of run that second unit and to play with the younger players is going to be important to how they develop as well. And I think, Alex Caruso is absolutely going to be worth every penny that we pay him. I don't have any doubts in that. Whether it's heart, whether it's defense, whether it's showing up in big minutes, whether it's giving us some big time dunks from time to time, Alex Caruso is a player, and it's going to be exciting to see what he's able to do. And I said on one of my wild predictions that I can completely see Alex Caruso winning Sixth Man of the Year, especially if the Bulls win at the rate that we hope that they can. So that's going to be also something to look out for this season. But specifically in this Detroit Pistons matchup, right? I, I just want to see the continued chemistry between the team. And specifically in this matchup with the Pistons, like I really do. I want to see the Bulls run away with this. And I want to see them come out in the season opener and just look like that well-oiled machine that we got to see so much in the preseason. And then of course, we already know. Zach LaVine, I just want to see the continued efficiency. Like I'm not even going to put a number on how many points or anything like that, but Zach LaVine's ascent this season, right? Him going into that true superstardom level worldwide, right? Where everyone knows Zach LaVine, people expect him. He starts getting those favorable calls, all that. His ascent this season is going to be an amazing thing to watch, especially the fact that he's doing it in the Bulls uniform. We know that it's a contract year, and this is the year that Zach LaVine has taken that chip on his shoulder, and he's, by everything that we've seen so far, is going to be out to prove a lot of things this season. And, so that's overall, kind of what I wanted to talk about briefly to come into it. We already know Lonzo and, him, just this team overall, right? The chemistry between this team, how they play, what identity they figure out over the course of the season. We know and we expect what type of team that they're going to be. We have expectations of that, but overall, like what does it end up looking like? Like that grittiness, that fight, how tough it is for teams to come into our building every game, and like just it's such a great time to be a Bulls fan, man. And overall, I know we already did like a predictions on what the Bulls could win, and I think at the time I said I think the Bulls could win like 45 games, 50 games on the high end. And really, this is what I'll say, like that was pretty much before the preseason, before we got to see so much of this. And I really do think the sky's the limit for the Bulls. And I'm not just saying that as a Bulls fan. I'm saying that just as somebody who, from what we've seen so far, is that they have a potential to be not just good offensively. They have the potential to be amazing offensively. And it just comes down to whatever defensive woes do or do not exist. Are they going to be active, focused enough, and not let that defense be a detriment to what they're able to do offensively? And at least by what we've seen in the preseason, yes, they have had times where that defensive inability or weakness, some there, if that's what you want to call it, shows its ugly head. But overall, like the Bulls, yes, they don't look like the best team in the league defensively or anything like that. But at least that they've shown that with the activity and heart and hustle that they're going to play with and focus on defense, that it hasn't looked like it's going to be something that really overcomes this huge um what's the word I'm looking for? This huge ability that they're going to have offense. They're going to be one of the most dangerous offensive teams, it looks like. And especially if they continue playing those passing lanes, they get out in transition, they rebound well, and everything. I know we did the X Factor video, and while I'm sitting here talking about things to look out for in the preseason, overall the Bulls bench, but I'm just going to keep on hyping Alize fucking Johnson, man. Like Alize Johnson, he's going to be one of my favorite players on the team this season. I have no doubt about that at all. The Bulls they've cut Stanley Johnson as well, so we know Matt Thomas is going to make the final roster, which makes sense. You want a sharpshooter. He's not, Matt Thomas isn't great defensively, but he's not a huge liability defensively either. And you want a sharpshooter. Most winning teams have a sharpshooter on their team. And then, especially waiting for Coby White. And that's another thing to look out for in this Bulls season, is that what are the Bulls going to do with Coby White? What is Coby White's role going to be on this team? Does Coby White flourish now coming off the bench and playing a position that is more suited to him? All these questions remain for the Bulls season. And it's going to be ones that I don't, Coby is probably going to be out, I think, until December, right? Is what we're looking at. But I think that most of the questions that we have for this team in the first 6 games, we're going to see, right? We're going to see what the Bulls are or are not. And, when you look at like ultimately what's the cap for these Bulls? Like, what is it how much can the Bulls achieve this year? And I've said it. I don't think 50 wins is completely out, especially looking at like the other turmoil that's going on, the Ben Simmons craziness affecting Philly, Kyrie, What's going on with Kyrie in Boston? I'm sorry, not in Boston. He's not in Boston anymore. In New York, all these things do put the Bulls in a position, if they have health, if they play the way that we think they can. I don't think 50 wins is out of the question at all, and I don't think a run into the second round of the playoffs is out of question at all either. Like, don't be surprised if these Bulls overachieve according to what the preseason analysts had to say about the Bulls. You know, there's still people who are doubting if the Bulls will be a playoff team, and that to me is just, it's fucking ridiculous. I know they pay them. They're supposed to be a lot smarter than us. They pay them a lot of money to make these predictions, but it just seems way off for this Bulls team to me. But looking at the Bulls, let's look at the first 5 games of the Bulls season. Detroit, New Orleans, Detroit again, Toronto, and New York. That New York game was the one that I'm really, really excited about because Tibbs, D-Rose being there, the New York being another young team that's made a lot of additions in the offseason. They had the season that they did last year. I'm really looking forward to that New York game. But I really, Zion's going to be out against in New Orleans the time we play. We got 2 games in Detroit sandwiching that game. Toronto, we'll see what happens with Toronto. In that New York game, I completely think that there's a world in which the Bulls win 4. I don't want to say 5 because that's the Bulls homer in me, right? That is my fandom getting the better of me when I look at this and say the Bulls they can go 5-0 to start this stretch. But you never know what happens. You never know who can get hot. But I don't see a world, and even if the Bulls end up going 3-2, let's just say they go 3-2. Yeah, it's going to be a little disappointing as a Bulls fan because, like I said, I want to see them go. I want to see them win every game, but ideally 4-1 in that first 5 games. But if the Bulls get on a run, listen here, if the Bulls get on a run early to start the season, it's gonna be a dangerous time. And so just let me know. And I like leaving you guys with the question, right? So here's the question I want to ask to end this video. So down below, let me know, what is yours, if you have one, your tradition for the Bulls season opener, right? What is typically your tradition? My tradition is me and my daughter, we put on our Bulls jersey, my older daughter and we put on our Bulls jerseys. We watch the game, we order wings, and we just sit there and watch the game. This is every Bulls season opener for probably about the last 6 years. That's what we've done every time. And so that's the tradition that we formed. She's as much of a Bulls fan as I am. It gets crazy, especially when the Bulls start losing games that they should win. Last season, it got pretty ugly. So, but I want to know down below, what is your tradition? What are any of your Bulls traditions, especially if they're ones to start the season, but overall, what do you do when you watch Bulls games? Let me know down below. Like I like to end every video on, go Bulls. I love you guys. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.